is Lisa Bain. Welcome to Treasure Talks. I would love for you to take a moment to subscribe to our channel and hit the doorbell so you get notifications about our new videos and content. It has been a joy to meet some incredible heroes over the years through my nonprofit work. Our community is filled with heroes who have such incredible and miraculous stories. These stories need to be heard. These heroes have found treasure in the darkest days of their lives, and they are using it to help others and bring hope to those in our community. Every month, we will spotlight a new story as you meet these community heroes and we chat one-on-one. So stay tuned and be ready to be encouraged and inspired by these community treasures. It's time for Treasure Talks. Hey everybody, welcome to Treasure Talks. I'm so excited that you're here today, and I'm even more excited about my guests. It's like I have family on the couch.
Hi, Lisa.
This is Heather and Dempsey Yates, and those who know me, I'm sure have seen their pictures on my Facebook and social media, but I want to tell you a little bit about Heather and Dempsey. First of all, we have you all during September, which is Childhood Cancer Awareness Month. Mm-hmm. And that's really the story that you have. You've been involved in childhood cancer since 2015 when your 17-year-old son, Trevor, was diagnosed with an incurable brain cancer called glioblastoma multiforme. And since that time, you all have volunteered with family. You have been involved in events. I'm sure you have seen their pictures on many of the volunteering things that I've posted, including fundraisers, races. And Dempsey, you're involved with network security, and you are a homeschooling father, and you homeschool 5 children who I absolutely adore. You've got Colin, Lily, Pax, and Jack. And then, of course, Trevor. And you, I'm so proud of, because you're getting your master's degree as a nurse practitioner. I mean, this lady is amazing. You're both active in your church, and you continue to be advocates for childhood cancer. Trevor died October 2016 after a 21-month battle with brain cancer. So like I said, this is Childhood Cancer Awareness Month, and I knew you when Mavis would go visit at the hospital, but it was really when Trevor was diagnosed with cancer that I really got to know you. When I was thinking about how to describe childhood cancer, we were saying, I don't think there's an adjective for it. Can you take me back and tell me a little bit about the journey of Trevor and what you guys went through with childhood cancer?
Sure. So December 2014, Trevor started having headaches, and he had difficulties in school. He just, he liked to do other things besides school. So that's one of the reasons why we homeschooled. And we just thought, in January, they were just, he said they were getting worse. They were controlled with medication, Tylenol, Motrin. And then one day he just came into me and he's like, Mom, take me to the hospital now. So we went thinking it was migraine. She gave him a shot of medication in the urgent care. Headache went away. So he was like, oh, this is great. We went over for a CT scan thinking it was just going to be migraines. And then we were pretty much taken to the children's oncology unit. And then 2 ICU doctors came up and took him downstairs to the pediatric ICU. And then he had brain surgery 2 days later.
So it was just like, yes. We were talking today, I was talking to a friend, life changes in an instant. Yep. And in an instant, your world.
January 31st, 2015.
Your world just came crashing down.
Yep.
Okay, so the surgery that they did, what was the next step? They did the surgery. Was he supposed to have chemo? What was kind of the...
They had to wait for a diagnosis before they knew what the plan was. So they sent, since he was a child, diagnosed with what they thought was glioblastoma. They didn't want to diagnose a child with that at St. Francis, so they sent it off to Johns Hopkins, and they diagnosed him there with glioblastoma. They'd already diagnosed him at St. Francis, but they just wanted verification since it was a child.
Wow.
And February 11th, we got the final diagnosis. So,
what do you do? What do you do when that happens? How do you even wrap your head around that? Can you kind of take me back to that place? I call it deer in headlights. When I was being told about mom's cancer, it's like you're watching their mouth move, but it's like... Burr, 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 burr.
Yeah. And even though I was a pediatric nurse, it was like, you're gonna have to explain it to me, and I don't understand what you're telling me
Right.
because my kid and cancer, that's not in the same sentence.
Yeah.
Nope.
So yeah, you're just blown away. And when the lady at the urgent care, we had left the urgent care, gone to the CT scan across the street at St. Francis, and then back to the urgent care, and I about fell off a chair and I couldn't talk. I remember I called him, and it was like I just remember mumbling and I couldn't even make my words. I about fell off the chair and I'm bawling.
Oh,
And Trevor's sitting there like, "What's going on, Mom?" Like, because he's 17-year-old boy who's invincible.
right.
He doesn't think anything of it.
Yeah.
And
Okay, so the siblings. How did the siblings go through this journey? Because I know that you've helped me pack
Mhm.
backpacks and you've helped me pack care boxes
Mhm.
for the siblings because you're focused on the child that's battling. Where do the siblings go in all this? How did they take it?
Devastation.
Yeah. It was
Yeah.
hard to see them
I remember that.
suffer along with them.
They they adored
It's
Trevor, and I
yeah.
remember
Yeah.
seeing those little hearts crushed. I'm trying not to cry.
Yeah, I
We're
know. Me
looking,
too.
we're
I
sitting here
know.
looking
I
at
got
each other.
tears. I got tears forming, but I'm not going to cry.
I'm
So,
sitting
yeah.
here looking at you thinking, I'm not going to cry. I'm not
Yeah,
going to
no.
cry.
And we're usually okay talking about it, but it's had some time, but it's still it's your
Well,
child.
someone said to me, I have never lost a child, but I have asked a family member before who has, does it ever get better? Does it ever
Um,
go away?
It doesn't go away.
It
no.
just gets different?
It's different. Yeah.
Different. You learn to deal with it in a different way, and then you eventually want to talk about it more with you always want to talk about it with people. And for those of you out there, always say their name. I know you're going to make them cry, but just say their name. Um,
When you say their name, the
say yes, say their child's name.
yes.
I'm sure you like to hear stories still about your mom and dad.
Oh, I
So
love that.
always say their name. Bring them up. Hey,
Yes.
your dad was like the best teacher I ever had. Your mom really reached out and touched me. Trevor, hey, I remember him. He was really goofy in my class. Say their name.
I
Talk
love
about it
that.
because they're still alive.
Yes.
So in our
Yes.
hearts.
That's
So
right.
yes.
That's right. And I remember the journey with Trevor. In fact, I got to know Trevor during his
Hmm.
whole journey. And I remember him coming up, and you guys were so faithful. You talk about serve, step out, see miracles. You guys were serving. I'm getting ready to cry, and I'm
Yeah.
trying not to. You guys were going through hell. And you were up there serving to help other patients with care packages and, stuffed dogs and getting things together. And I remember Trevor being up there and I knew he was hurting. He was going through stuff and he was there helping and
Hmm.
going through things. Um, do you think that serving was a way to get through your journey?
Yes.
I always say, serving, stepping out, seeing miracles. How did serving and giving and paying it forward help you guys through this journey? Because you did it as a family.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
and our kids still love it because it focuses back on something else and it makes something that's terrible into a positive, I think. Trevor loved volunteering. He couldn't believe that kids younger than him had cancer. Like when we'd go into the cancer clinic and he would see, he's like, "Do they have cancer, Mom? Do they have cancer?" Like he just couldn't believe that even kids younger than him. Like I think he was trying to imagine his siblings because he was the oldest having cancer and he just couldn't fathom that. But he was quiet, and of course, brain cancer affects more of your thought process. So he became very slow in doing everything, and one reason he loved to volunteer with you because you were patient and he could dress, by the time we could dress 10 or 12 dogs, it maybe took, he could only dress maybe one dog because,
Oh, I
the
love
brain cancer
Sam.
affected, but he could do
You
it.
know what I remember? He always said he wanted to go to the Grand Canyon.
Yes. Yeah.
And we
Hmm.
knew he wasn't going to be able to make
Yeah.
it to the Grand Canyon, so we photoshopped him in the
Oh
Grand
yeah.
Yeah. You
Canyon
did with,
with
Yeah.
with Mavis.
Mavis.
Sure.
And
And that
that was,
was,
Sure.
we saw that picture in our house.
Yes.
oh,
And
I
it's a
love
great
that.
picture. And he loved Mavis. And it was funny because Mavis would always just sit right on his feet.
Loved him. Absolutely loved him.
So,
Tell everyone about a memory that I think of so much was the whole OSU. He loved OSU.
mhm.
The whole OSU, we celebrated because wasn't he in hospice when we gave that birthday party to him?
Yes.
Yes.
Can you tell everyone about that because that was a good memory.
That was the best day ever. I mean, that was just, and you call, I remember when I called you, I texted you, I said, we're going home on hospice because he had told us after a second surgery, I'm never doing that again, Mom. I just want to,
Yeah,
if it ever
he's
comes
done.
back. And it did. And he had already told us his wishes. So we, brought him home and like his birthday's in September. And we had it, I think, at the end of August. But I just called you and you're like, okay. And I think you had it ready in a week. And, which 500 people is not really
We
at
had
EC.
we
At
had
OSU there, you had
the
Dave
cars.
Hunziker from OSU. You had he got on the phone with the basketball coach, and they brought him OSU, license only for the team stuff delivered to him. So he wore that for his birth. I mean,
And those cars, remember
and
those
the
cars
cars.
that just kept
He loved
coming, just
cars.
to
Love
He
be
never
able
got to
cars.
drive because
Yeah.
of the cancer. So that he could get in the
Yeah.
cars and pretend he was driving. So it was a lot. It was, yeah,
that was a special moment. And
yes.
I think about, can you relate to finding treasures in the dark places of your cancer journey? And if so, what would you say some of those treasures that you found in this journey of childhood cancer, what would they be? Some of those treasures.
The people. Like and one of the reasons we wanted to give back was people just were tripping over themselves to help us. It was just like I reached out to you. I mean, we had met a few times in the hospital, but not a lot. And I called you. I said, "You don't know me really, but I need you to help us get childhood cancer out there because my son's going to die." And you did. We weren't going
We
to do
did
it, but
good.
we
We
did.
did good until this moment.
But yeah,
I can't think of a family that has inspired and blessed me more than you guys. And Dempsey, you have written me some of the sweetest letters that I have framed. And you have one of the sweetest hearts I have ever met. And I know that I watched you guys go through this, and I watched your family go through it. And so many people walk through childhood cancer and they don't realize there's a whole family, because it's not just one person that gets cancer. The whole family gets it.
yeah,
Yeah. That's
yeah.
that's true.
And so I really wanted to do this video because I wanted to be able to give people that hope and know that, one of the things that you all helped us do recently was we set up here, we lined up care packages and we got them together to go to the Toby Keith Foundation, the Kids Corral,
Yep.
to help the families that go to the hospitals have snack bags and care bags to take. And we're getting ready to plan another one where we have the families that are dealing with children cancer to come and help again, to volunteer.
Yeah, we do a fundraiser every year for Trevor's birthday in August, September so people donate either
Yep.
money or they can donate snacks, and then we bring them here, we pack them, and then usually Megan and Emma drive them to Oklahoma City for
Yeah,
us.
and we get to go. Yeah, get to
Yeah.
go and give them. And someday I'm going to get up there and take that tour because
Oh my
that's
gosh,
a
it's wonderful.
fabulous,
It is
fabulous place.
just we got to stay there.
Huge
We got to
blessing.
live
Yeah.
there while he
Yeah,
was doing his
right.
trial.
And
So
one of the things that you just said that actually was a chapter in my book, that walking through the journey that I walked through, is you really realize your authentic community. You can't make it without community and those people that literally lift your arms up when you just can't. And it just, what a blessing. And now you are those people to so many people walking through the journey. And isn't it so true that our raw places can be manuals for others going through the same journey? If there's someone out there watching today that is walking through childhood cancer, or their son or daughter or loved one has just been diagnosed, what would be the things that you would say to give them some hope that you learned, that you wish someone would have told you at the very beginning?
reach out, like you said, your community. We had never needed help with anything, really. So for us to
That was
be,
hard.
it was humbling
Yeah.
to reach out. I took off a lot of time from work. People would watch our kids for us. Every time we went to the hospital, the
We
nurses,
had food delivered and
and it was already stocked in the refrigerator in the rooms.
really saw how good people
Yeah,
really are.
God really just sent just a million angels to us, and you were a huge player in that, and all the nurses at the hospital, all my friends, all my family. I mean, it was just, and then people we didn't even know, they were reaching out to us from across the country saying, oh, my son was diagnosed with this, or my daughter was diagnosed with this, here's what you need to do. I mean, we were getting, recommendations. We had talked to doctors all the way from the east to west coast. We're talking to San Francisco, Johns Hopkins, across. We had talking to a doctor at Duke. We drove to the Cleveland Clinic. I mean, piece of advice, there's not one piece. First piece of advice, pray. And
You can't do this
our
without God.
will
Yeah.
is our will is not always God's will.
Mm-hmm.
And what happens, it's not always in our, we have no control over it. So I don't know how we would have made it through without God just
Yeah.
saying, and every
hard to
day is a
think it ever.
miracle.
Yeah.
And you have to look at every little piece.
Mm-hmm.
They gave Trevor 9 to 14 months to live in the beginning. He made 14 months. He shouldn't have rang the bell to end his chemo. He shouldn't. I mean, there were just so many things that we shouldn't have gotten to do with him after his diagnosis that we did get to do. And I think that's what we talked about.
We're very thankful for the
To savor the
that.
seconds. Isn't it amazing how going through something like this completely changes your perspective?
Yep.
I hear people sometimes out just complaining or griping about the smallest things, and I think, oh,
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
really?
It
Yeah.
doesn't even matter.
It just doesn't even matter.
doesn't
Yeah.
matter.
It just
Yeah.
puts things in perspective.
Yeah.
And in the darkest places, God really does show up. We just talked to a gal that was talking about, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego being in the fiery furnace. And sometimes we are put in the fiery furnace, but God always meets us in the fiery furnace. And you are an advocate, and you continue to share and spread the legacy of Trevor and childhood cancer and going gold. And I want to encourage everyone this month. Can you talk a little bit about the campaigns that are going on, about going gold? I know if you're a business, what does that mean, going gold?
So after the year after Trevor died, we had some businesses go gold, and it's simply putting up a balloon, a sign that say we support childhood cancer, donating, reaching out to the Children's Hospital, St. Jude, doesn't have to be St. Francis, because you're going to be watching this across the country, reaching out to the hospital and saying, is there a family we can help? Is there, can we bring something to the hospital and, pass out to all the children there, all the families there? Because, the siblings too are so, our kids have been in counseling for
Are there
5 or
support
6
groups?
years.
Are there
Yeah.
support groups?
There's grief support groups, and it's not just grief after they die, it's anticipatory grief.
Oh.
So your family needs to get in, and I think what helped us the most was volunteering and saying, okay, we're not in this alone. There's other people going through this.
Because we did families that were
We
all
did.
going through
We
childhood
did, yeah.
cancer. That
When
was,
we packed the boxes or
Yeah.
the bags, it was for the family. You didn't just do. And when you sent us our first box, it had a cookie for each child. It had a dog, had toys, gifts. As you had stuff for the ride for the car, because we were going to be traveling to Cleveland and Oklahoma City and around. And that gave the kids like, okay, this isn't just, because there's a lot of focus on just the child.
Somebody cares about us too.
Yeah.
right.
And
It's the
that
whole
meant a lot.
family. Right.
Yeah.
So support groups are key then. And I love that there's grief, for the anticipatory grief, for those that are in hospice, for those that's an important.
And they're not even, maybe if they're going to live, but still they're losing that time of being healthy where they could be
Yes.
doing things, spending time with friends. Like teenagers have a really hard time with, okay, well, I'm not going to be able to drive. I'm not going to be able to spend time with friends because guess
Gotcha.
what? I'm going to be getting chemo on that
Okay.
day. I'm not going to be.
Yes.
So it's just grief for everything. And then, the parents like, okay, well, they're not going to graduate with their friends, or they're not going to get married. There's just all kinds of grief that
So you don't even think about things like that.
you don't. And I didn't think about that until it was happening. And I didn't even think about a lot of it until after he died. It was just that there was so much anticipatory grief, but we just tried to throw ourselves into when we were able to, and he was well enough to help others, because if not, I think we would have gone crazy.
Wow. Yes. And you get to see other families and go through what,
Yes.
be able to share with someone that's gone through the same thing. So support groups are so important, and connecting. And we will put up links there's many childhood cancer groups I know in Tulsa that you can go and support. And I know we do bags and care bags and snack bags to the cancer centers for the children and their families. So get connected. And this month, go gold. You know, if you're a business, gold ribbons. We want to celebrate these families and recognize them for what they're going through, because what they go through is huge. There isn't an adjective for this journey.
No, it's life changing. It's life altering, and I mean, we'll never be the same. I was a pediatric nurse, and I never thought we kind of tell ourselves, we're pediatric nurses, so who's going to take care of sick kids if our kids get sick? So our kids will never get sick. It's kind of what we kind of
Right.
tell ourselves in the back of our minds. So, you know, it just blows. And
it
that's
is.
not true, but we just kind of think that, you know, just because,
I-
like, who's going to take care of the sick kids? Because if, you know,
Right.
but that's not. So it can
Well,
happen to anybody.
You guys have made it through this journey, and I'm just in awe of you. You inspire me every day. And I would love to end in prayer and pray for those families that are facing this journey or that maybe have been walking it for a while. And I'd just love to end this time in prayer. And I'm going to hold your hand.
All right, we'll do it.
Oh, Lord, thank you so much for Heather and Dempsey and this beautiful family. And Father, thank you so much for the families out there that are warriors. They're fighting, they're standing, they're gathering together. And Jesus, I pray that you would just meet these families where their need is. That each child that is walking this walk, you would be there, you would heal. And Father, from the top of their heads to the soles of their feet, I pray for healing. And Lord, I pray that you would just birth and treasure moments in these dark places. And that, Lord, you would just reveal your grace, and that you would just truly, truly reveal miracles in this journey and bring joy, even when there just doesn't seem like there could be any. Only you can do that, Lord. I just pray for healings to the heart, that you would meet every person that's watching this program right now, right where they are, where they need you, and where they need hope. Thank you, Lord, that we can't do this without you. And with you, you've got a plan, and it's a good one. And we thank you for that plan. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
I love you guys.
Oh, we love you too, Lisa.
Thank you. I'm telling
All the
you,
time.
these people are so wonderful. I will leave links for everyone to be able. There may be some groups that you might refer people to. If people wanted to contact you, are we able to give you an email? Give them an email address.
Yes.
You can contact me, and I will put you in contact with Heather and Dempsey.
Absolutely.
They are just wonderful, a wealth of information. Thank you for being here, and make sure you ding the bell on our YouTube. And if you want to watch any previous episodes, we'd love you to watch. Thank you for joining us each month, and thank you guys. I love you with all my heart. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next month on Treasure Talks. Thank you for joining us at Treasure Talks. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel so you can stay up to date with the latest videos. You will not want to miss out. If you'd like more information on the growing projects of Lisa Bain Ministries and how we're helping the community, please visit us at lisabain.com.